So you just gotta wait for neighbors. You don't ride on Sugar Road. You don't ride on Highway 50. Whereas I don't care behind the high speed on my bike.
Patty, it's going, but it hasn't turned green.
That's probably what.
I'm ready for you.
Okay, I'm gonna call the April 9th, 2026 Plan Commission meeting to order. We'll do roll call first.
Jerry Wells,
Here.
Angie Claycamp,
Here.
Kendra Zumik,
Here.
Rick Slybaum,
Here.
Don Bruce,
Here.
Mark Maxey, Dave Early,
Here.
Bernie Hausberger. Did you already say here? You said here before I even said your name.
Well, can't you say my name faster?
Sorry. Dave Eggers,
Present.
Shell Parker.
Here.
Steve Gentry.
Here.
Okay. Does anybody have any corrections to the previous meeting minutes?
Make a motion in minutes approved as stated.
Second.
All in approval say aye.
Aye.
Okay, first case, please, Jeremy.
Only got one case tonight. It's PCM 2-26. 10-Foot Rim LLC is the petitioner. Petitioners are requesting a rezone. The property is 6693 North County Road 1000 East. They want to rezone from RS to I2 for heavy industry.
Okay, is the petitioner here to present your case?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bill Brayman with Lorenzo Beavers, Brayman and Connell. I represent 10-Foot Rim LLC, who is the owner of this property that we're talking about. And as Jeremy mentioned, we're asking that this property be rezoned from single-family residential to I2 industrial. Let me give you a little background about why we're making this request. I believe you have this in your package. So the property we're seeking to rezone is outlined in blue here. It's approximately, it's not quite 80 acres, 79 acres and change. And we're asking that it be rezoned to Industrial 2 because 10-Foot Rim LLC also owns this property, which is just to the southeast of the property we're here about. And that property is already zoned I2. As a matter of fact, the southern boundary of this property is the city boundary line. So the property we're here about tonight is not actually in the city limits, it's on the fringe. But the property to the south that 10-Foot Rim also owns is in the city limits, and it's already zoned industrial, as is the other property to the south. The property to the south of the other 10-Foot Rim property is owned by Seymour Development Corp. And then the property to the south of that is the Vital Farms project that is ongoing now. So the reason we want to rezone this property is that the owners believe that it's much more marketable and better used as an industrial property rather than a potential subdivision of single-family homes. This zoning, like I said, is consistent with all the property to the south, and obviously to the southwest of this property you have the East Side Industrial Park, which is also zoned industrial as well. So I can tell you that the property owners do not have a buyer waiting in the wings. There's no preconceived notions about what this property will be used for if it is rezoned to industrial, but their desire is to get it on the market, and they believe that adding this 79-acre parcel to the approximately 18-acre parcel to the south will make it more marketable for an industrial use, which we also believe will be a better use for this property considering it backs up to the interstate, and we think an industrial use will also be better for the tax base and future taxes that can be collected from the property as opposed to some sort of single-family residential subdivision. So that's our request. We would respectfully request that the commission send this to the city council with a favorable recommendation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Okay. Is there anybody here to speak in favor? No. Okay. How about against? Okay. We'll go and take turns and come up to the mic and please say your name. And then you have 5 minutes, Jeremy? 3, sorry, 3 minutes.
Yeah, we just need your name for the record.
Okay, we're Trevor and Sabrina Daly. We live on the corner of 1000 and 700.
Yep.
It's a new build. We purchased out there because we are in the gray area, not in city limits. We honestly, if we knew this was going to happen, we would have went in and purchased the land ourselves. The farmland predates anything industrial at that spot. We brought photos to show. We already deal with semis tearing up the utilities, knocking down our signs, running in our yard, rutting up everything, blowing their horns, and there's a sign on the road, we also have a picture of that says no commercial traffic, no vehicles over 53 foot, nobody listens to it. Not to mention what it's going to do to our property values. Nobody wants to live beside an industrial park. We just built a $500,000 house. We were worried about, honestly, taxes. That's going to do something to our taxes, obviously. We have spoke with the neighbors who live around us. Several of them are out of town and they couldn't come. But this would be terrible for the neighborhood. We're trying to establish. I have a chicken farm and we don't want that out there. We don't want semis going by 24/7. And I'm telling you, if it does go through, I'm going to hold the semis accountable. And I'm going to be on the phone continually when they rip up a sign and rip up my yard and rip up the utilities. Because it says $1,000 fine. The city could make $10,000 a day if they would get out there and fine the semis. So.
I think I'm a little less emotional probably than what she
I don't
is
like
with that. So we live on a corner, like you say, and we have grandbabies. We have our grandbabies go across the street. So there's a lot of children that interact on that road, right? They come across the neighborhood, they cross 700. There's always playing. When the factories let out, right, that road becomes a little bit dangerous as it is. You literally got to clear the area from 3:30 to 4:30 or whatever that time period is for the factories because it is heavy. Semis.
For just will you show me on here where you are? Are you this one right here? She said 700 and 1,000.
Yes. Do you guys want these photos to go around?
You got it.
Yeah, so this is 1,000.
So we're sitting right here.
Okay.
I can give you on here where they're at if you need that.
So again, the semi she's talking about. So on our end of the road, it says no
sign
no
is in
commercial
there.
vehicles, nothing over 53 foot. Well, we know there's probably 53 foot semis, but they've got the wheels spread, so they can't make the corner. So all of the signage, the stop sign, the sign itself,
Utilities.
the utilities, Frontier, I think, has replaced that corner. I don't know, 100 times, right? And they last a day before the semis are literally drive over it because it's not big enough road for semis to come down as it is. And then when you go to the 90 degree and the S-turn, then their semi wheels will pull up against the boulders and then just drag everything as far as they can to get through, right?
You'll see in the photos, several of the neighbors have put giant rocks at the end of the
The
curves.
semis just
and they
go
just
through.
drag them.
On the other end of the road, when they added they added the pipe business down at the other end, right? They should go out the south end into the industrialization that's there, but they don't. They basically pass through. That signage has been updated to say no commercial vehicles on this road whatsoever. It's local deliveries only. That's ignored, and that's to what she was saying. They're ignoring that, and they're going down the road anyway. So you have a large number of large trucks that are always blocking the road, always in our road, and always at the end of the road trying to get out. I think we sent a picture there where the other day that truck was stuck there for 15 minutes because he couldn't make a decision of whether do I mow through the utilities or do I try to figure out another way. Eventually he mowed through the utilities, right? Well, in the meantime, everybody's in our driveway trying to back up and get moving the other way. So the road doesn't support heavy industrial update, right? It's in
the country.
It's a county road, and it supports residential. On the other side of that, we know that our neighbor, is also, they got one more child that's planning to build a house right across the street from us. We're also considering building another house right next to ours on the other property for another child of ours. So we're gonna add more residential into that area. So the concern is you turn it into heavy industrial, it's gonna change the entire neighborhood there, and it's unsafe as it is with the factories and with the commercial that does travel. So if anything, we're asking for you to limit the commercial vehicle that is on the road already, right? Do something about that. And then if there is already industrialization property that is already zoned for that at the other end, then develop that, right? Leave the 80 acres as it is, because it's moving down towards the other houses, and in fact, you end up right across the street from another residential, and I'm sure they don't want to sit right across the street from an industrialization park, right? So I think it's dangerous for children, for community, of what is growing out there. I don't think the road and utilities doesn't support that, right? There's not even water that runs down. Everybody's got wells, so you have to expand that as well. There's a greater investment than simply rezoning and selling, so.
And I would like to add, I realize we're just two people. They have tons of money. We don't. But, you know, if these people, I don't know who they are. This is not a big city. People talk. If they've already given plans to the city because the city knows it's going to profit off this land, if they've already showed what they're going to do, he says they haven't. We can't guarantee that. I've heard some other things about the housing addition they're doing. You know, we have to follow the rules. Consider the small people in this.
Maybe listening to the voices of the neighborhood, the people it's impacting, right? You guys don't want a commercial property sitting across the street from your house or where you have to pull out. We don't either.
So,
And we didn't buy into a neighborhood that had that. We're at the edge of the north end of that.
and we did that on purpose.
But that remains at the south. We don't want it at the north, and that will force it at the north.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Get up. Our name is Carr. Carr. We live right next to that property. And we would like to know why it wants to be rezoned at this time. Heavy industrial, you said, is that right?
It's I-2 zoning district.
So I have to stop when I come out of my driveway a lot of times and sit there till the road clears when it's quitting time in town. Already. And every time I call the phone company, because they run over my landline down there, they came out even and put a T-post in there, and they still run over that. So it's all kinds of trouble trying to get out of 1,000 onto 700 for them, or to come in off of 700, 2,000. And there's 2 S curves in that road. One there before you get to 700, and one before you get up to Killian, is it? So there's 2 S curves in that road for semis to negotiate. Who's going to straighten that out? Are you guys? That's what I thought.
We're selling the property. We are not developing it, so that's not our call.
You
Whoever
bought
buys
it just to resell?
Yeah, we're gonna sell it.
Why don't you buy mine then, resell it?
Pass it along.
I have some comments. We have no public sewers,
Or
no
water?
public water. There's a ditch running through this property that drains on us, and anytime we get a big rain, it floods the back of, the ditch runs through our property, it floods. If you put anything industrial in there with big septic, big water lines, big anything, we're gonna get all of that runoff in our yard behind our house. We have a hard time getting in and out now because of the traffic. I just don't know.
I just don't want it. I just say it just plain out. I do not want it.
And
So-
we'd be glad to answer any questions. If you've got any questions anybody got any questions for us, we had
We
great.
are, excuse me, we are the next property north of that proposed deal. There's just a small ditch runs between us and them. And when Pardick lived there, him and the neighbors got together and put that ditch in. Because down across our property is a natural drain. So everybody that comes in there to farm or whatever, they ditch to that and comes over on us. I don't like it, but when ain't nothing you can do about something like that, I don't guess. But I sure am not in favor of rezoning.
And our neighbor just north of us is not here tonight, but if you drive out there, you'll see she's got tree stumps, and there are always semi-tracks in a piece of ground off the road where these guys are going already. There's no way to move her house, and if they go off the other side of the road, there's a big ditch. They'll have to take off 2 or
Somebody
3 neighbors.
cut the edge off of that road ditch there between them two S's and just put rock there. Well, you get off in there, you're stuck. That's all there is to it.
They would, and from 2:30 until 5:30, our road is busy already, just with people from the industrial park south of us coming through. So this would really be a big hazard for us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe one of the pictures in the packet is their mailbox that got knocked down.
That's what I was, yeah.
It's still down. I just got it propped up.
Hi, we're Beth and Catherine Montgomery, and Catherine owns the property on 700. We own 44 acres of farmland that has been in our family for years, and we would like to preserve it as farmland. And our question is, does this back up to our property?
Not
Yes.
yet. Oh, it will?
It will?
There's a picture if you need it. Hand them yours, Kendra.
Well, that's our property, and then where they back up to our property.
You own that 40 acres that comes north or south, right?
Right at the overpass. And you know,
Theirs goes right down past our place in a
They're
straight line.
18.2 on your map.
I know where you live.
Here,
That's what I thought.
here's 700, and here's where it is, and here's Grandpa's land, right here.
Right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are strongly opposed to this. As I said, we want to keep our land a farmland. We don't need a heavy industrial equipment to come through there. Those roads out there, Enos Road and Road 1000, are narrow, as she mentioned. They have S curves in them. They cannot handle that kind of traffic, nor should they. And so we are strongly opposed.
And the fact that he's just buying the ground, he doesn't care.
Yeah, you're just buying the ground. You don't really care about the homeowners out there who have their land. And we don't want an industrial park that's going to pollute our farmland. And so we are strongly opposed.
Okay, thank you.
One more question.
Does she need to come up?
Do any of you people travel Enos Road very often, Road 700, cutting through from 31? You know how narrow it is. It is not wide enough for semi. If we get out there and there's a semi occasionally coming down through there, even the school bus, that road is narrow. It's not very good for that kind of traffic, because even though they're supposed to go out the other end, they don't.
Okay.
I'd like to add one more thing as well.
Hold on just a minute. We got a process here.
Sorry
so.
about that.
You're all right. We're
Okay.
gonna let you talk, but
Okay. Okay, are there any questions by the commission? Anybody?
Can I ask a question with, and I don't mean it in a facetious way, like if somebody's trying to sell this property and it either remains residential, would these people be okay with, so last time we rezoned 23 acres for 88 homes, right? Would they be okay with selling it and having 150 homes? So you would rather have homes than,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I just kept hearing people talk about selling the property, so I was just curious.
Can we hear the gentleman's comment real quick? I think
I
we're
was
gonna
gonna
miss.
say that, that
of course, Brian.
all the houses on that road but one are very close to the road as well. So when the semis come in off of Enos Road and turn onto that road, and they're not supposed to be on it. When they have heavy loads, right, they go through the gears and they're barely moving. That rattles our windows in our house, right? Every bit of traffic comes through there on commercial, rattles the windows, and I'm certain that it probably does on everybody else's house because they're very close to the road. So again, adding more commercial traffic, even 150, houses would be, right, we need to consider that. That's probably not ideal for that road because you don't have it to support that kind of traffic, right? You would have to reevaluate that anyway to say, hey, I can put 150 houses on this little short road and the road is okay to handle that. It's not big enough for that. It shouldn't be considered for either one, to be honest. But the houses that are on it today are very close to the road, and all of that traffic that is on there continuously rattles.
I'll say it is narrow.
It is narrow.
They, exactly, I live out there too.
curves in that short street.
I mean, if you changed it and said, okay, we're gonna put 150 houses, I think that's a bad idea, right? Imagine 150 people traveling in and out. It's not a 2-lane highway. It's not meant for that.
Even though they drive it like it is.
Even though they drive it like it is, absolutely. Enos Road, it's I-700, I think.
Okay, let's proceed.
Okay, deliberate session, or did we have any more questions first?
I do.
Okay.
So last time when we were discussing this, so if this goes from R2 to I2. and-
RS.
RS, so residential to I2, and we were doing the one out by the bowling alley. So let's say that they want to, if they were to like bring in a data center, does that mean they have to come back? Or if it's already I2, is it okay to be like included as a data center? Does it have to come back?
Jeremy? No.
You're a recommendation. Let me remind everybody why you're here. You are a recommendation only. Tonight, the people who have the authority are city council. To answer your question, I don't know what kind of recommendation you're gonna come up with tonight, but let's say you give it an unfavorable. It could still get approved by city council. So what you do here tonight has a bearing. I'd like to think that they look at our plan commission and say they gave it a favorable, or they gave, they'll look at that, but they have the power. For your question, if you zone something to industry, anything that's allowed in industry can go in there.
That fits that I2 classification.
Yep.
Right, yep. So there's several classifications, Kendra, of industrial applications. I2's not, it goes to I5.
No.
I4?
No, I2's,
I2's it?
I1 and I2. The only difference in I1 and I2 is I1 does not allow for outdoor storage, I2 does. That's the
Right.
only two in that.
You're right. I was thinking C5s. I was thinking something else.
Okay. Do you have a final?
Yeah, if I could just address a couple of the neighbors' issues. I mean, I agree with the comments on the traffic from 700. That is an issue, no doubt about it. The plan in marketing the property as industrial would be to tell prospective buyers that access for heavy vehicles comes through the existing East Side Industrial Park that's set up for that, and not to come through 700 and come in that north way. And certainly we would be willing to work with the city to, do whatever can be done to make sure that it is minimally invasive for the neighbors to the north for this semi-traffic to be coming through there, because that's not what should be happening. I agree with them. And we'll work to make sure that any access to the property for heavy vehicles comes from the south and the southwest. In terms of the drainage issue that was mentioned, any development of this property is going to have to go through building permits, improvement location permits, and a lot of engineering standards that Bernie's going to hold the ultimate user to. So one would hope that that the industrial use of that property will result in a drainage plan that will actually improve drainage in that area compared to what it is now. That would be our hope, certainly.
You say who owns that now?
It's called 10-Foot Rim, LLC.
Don't that just a surname for the guy that runs a roofing company over there? Royalty?
I'm not allowed to elaborate who the owners of it are.
It's right in there on the dang computer. I just checked it the other day.
Okay, well,
If you Google 10 foot, you get nothing on Google.
Let's go.
So,
Okay.
I know what an
It's,
LLC
Keep going.
is.
Okay.
it's set up as an
Talk all night.
Indiana LLC.
Okay,
I think everybody's concern is you had somebody, you went through an auction for whatever reason, right? You came in to buy it, to turn around and make a profit on it, on a neighborhood that the people are like, it's been farmland for all these years. Don't turn around for the sake of money, right, and turn it into an industrialization park.
And that's what they're gonna do.
And that's
okay,
what's-
we're
and that's
gonna,
what
we're
trying
gonna
to do.
vote at this time,
No,
no?
you got
Sorry.
a question from,
Oh, I thought we already did, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we go first?
Yeah, you go, I'm good.
I was just gonna mention that the,
Yes.
we do have a plan for the 90-degree curves coming from Hartsel Drive going back into the city. It's not locked in yet, so I can't really, make too many comments on that, other than that it's late in the planning stages.
Or you're gonna make the truckers abide by it.
Yeah, that's another issue. I don't know what the
Because they
solution
don't
is. That's
now.
gonna have to be part of the development, maybe, is to put almost like a semi turnaround where we have at the end of their drive, we cannot have semis go through to the north at this time.
well, Bernie,
If this
being you're
makes
the,
sense.
Bernie, you are the city engineer. I keep hearing city. 700 is not city. That's county, am I correct?
Yeah, just.
700?
You understand?
700 's
City
county, yeah.
controls most of it.
Right outside of the 90 to his point.
That's a
is right
county-
where
Kinda,
the city ends,
Yeah, and
right?
we are making some assumptions
Is
that.
that a county road, Bernie? 700?
Yeah, well, so
700 is a county
is
road.
1,000 East.
Thousand
Okay.
East is
And
also a county
1,000
road.
is a county road, right?
Right.
So city can't do anything on those roads without the county's approval, right?
That's
Correct.
It hasn't been said here. It's been said that the city ought to make a sign or do the thing. We can't do that without the county.
Yeah, the county
Right.
has to agree, but we still have kind of somewhat jurisdiction on making improvements
I understand, you-
especially if it becomes,
but you gotta get
City.
that done through the county as well, not just the city.
I agree.
Wanted to make that clear, that that is a county road.
Can I ask Bernie a question?
Sure.
You said that there's a plan in the works that you can't talk about doing a semi-turnaround. Is this because you knew this property was gonna be trying to be industrialized, or was this?
I'm just saying that's an option, when they develop this and if they do have more trucks, trying to exit towards Seymour and one of them makes a mistake and goes to the north, they may have to put some type of a turnaround in there that can keep us from, try to keep that a lot of times I think a semi gets either lost or they can't figure out what to do once they go north.
They're not lost.
They got to keep, they got the tracking, but they got it for the cars instead of for the semis.
Well, bottom line is they're illegal, no
Right,
matter
I
what you say,
understand.
it's an enforcement issue at that point. And I don't think it's not our job to really work on enforcement.
No, I don't think we can tell them get new
We
GPS.
have too many trucks go by from the same company. It's not just one trucker getting turned around. It's the same drivers all the time. I mean, it's not, oops, I messed up. It's,
Have you spoken with your county commissioner, any county council members about this problem?
So we have.
So my son-in-law worked for the state. I had him contact the county, and he said he got nowhere. They just basically didn't wanna hear, cause I was basically saying, hey, on one end of the road, it says, no commercial vehicles should be going down this road. The other end says you can, as long as you stay under 53 foot. I said, can we at least get this updated to reflect that no semi should be on it? And he said, no.
I've tried contacting the sheriff, cause we're in the sheriff's jurisdiction, and they don't take it serious either. Look, they're dragging stuff through yards and tearing this stuff up. I've got license plate numbers, and they're like, it's not that serious. It is that serious.
Well,
You
they
live
don't,
right there.
they don't live there, so it's not serious.
Right.
Anything else, Bernie?
That's all I got.
Anybody else?
Can we vote now?
Yeah, so-
Okay, let's vote.
And as I said for the crowd, no matter what happens here, city council has the voting power. This is gonna be a recommendation.
And so, after you vote, I wanna ask about that, okay?
Okay, so it's going to go with an unfavorable 8-2.
It'll go to city council with an unfavorable recommendation, and Patty, what's that date?
April 27th,
April 27th in this same room, city council meeting.
7 o'clock.
Are we able to attend those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you'll want to come.
You will want to come.
Yes.
Thank you for your vote. If I were you, I would send these photos
You say
ahead
7
of
o'clock?
time to.
7 o'clock,
They
it's
have
different
them
time.
In their email, can you go on the city website and find their email address?
And the date and time will be on there also? Okay.
Do you still have a question?
City website.
Yeah, so my question is, if the property we're talking about is in the county, it's county roads, county property, why does city council make the final vote?
Because we have a fringe area in the city, we're in charge of building permits and zoning.
Yeah, I had to get a permit to build a drum.
Yep. That was set up in 1960 something. I wasn't born yet, but yeah, we have a fringe area in the city that we take care of building permits. And the reason that was always the case, I was told, was that's areas that you'll probably be annexed eventually. So we want control over what happens in those areas.
You would think though that they wouldn't have the ultimate say, right? It ought to be,
Well,
you can include your vote into this, but it's not city.
School, I'm in Reading Township, but.
It's not city, but it falls under that 2 mile fringe. I live in the 2 mile fringe.
Right. It's a state law that's been around.
Yeah.
yeah, we don't make that rule. That's the state that tells us that's the law, so you'd have to,
I guess I don't want, and I don't know who is on that council, right, the city council. I don't know what they're considering. Are they simply considering, I care only about in growing Seymour, and I don't care about the rural area?
I couldn't tell you how,
You know,
I don't get in their head. I could tell you how my suggestion to you is come to that meeting and speak your opinion, and they'll listen,
Okay.
just like we did,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Jeremy?
I have nothing.
Okay. Anybody? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you all.
Oh, probably, yeah.